So I just took 60 days off of work. That's right. I've been gone for 60 days, and maybe you didn't even notice. That's okay. I still love you. But on this episode, I want to talk about why I took a 2-month break, what the heck happened while I was gone, why I haven't been posting these episodes in the last 60 days, and the good and the bad and the ugly of what it looks like to take a 2-month sabbatical. At the end of the episode, I'm also going to walk you through 3 simple steps that I think you can use to apply to yourself to create your own sabbatical experience, even if you feel like time is short and you couldn't even get away for longer than a few days. Let's discuss. Hey friend, Graham here. I'm pumped to be hanging out with you. I missed doing these shows, and if you're a regular listener, or some of you are viewer, then I'm sorry I didn't get to deliver that to you. We're going to unpack all of it, but let me just walk you through what happened, why I did it, and then what the results were. And this is going to be very raw and very real. This is not like a very glossy, beautiful, like it was perfect. It wasn't perfect punchline. It was a bit of a hot mess at times. So my hope is that this real, authentic look, like pull the curtain back, here's what really happened in the last 2 months, will be instructive and helpful to you no matter where you are. So real quick, details. I took a 2-month sabbatical, and what did that look like? It meant I wasn't in email for 2 months. I literally have to open my inbox today, and I've got hundreds of emails waiting for me. I do have an assistant who takes care of customers and could flag me if there was anything that was really, really important. So hopefully we didn't miss anything, but I have a lot of email to catch up on. So no email. I didn't create any podcast episodes or YouTube videos, and I didn't work on any new products, and I didn't sell anything. I didn't launch anything, no activity to further the business. I still did, if you're paying attention, I still did my weekly book summaries. I've been doing this thing this year called my 52 book challenge, where I'm reading a book a week, and then I'm just posting a 5 to 9 minute video synopsis of my biggest takeaway. So technically that has been posted every week here on the channel and on the podcast, but that's actually not content that drives the business forward. That is a personal challenge that I committed to. And so I was like, I'm not going to back out on my commitment to read a book. In fact, I did more reading, as you'll find out in a minute, during my sabbatical. So I was going to continue with the synopses because I didn't view it as work related. I still coached my private clients. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. I still have some high-end private clients that have paid me a lot of money to work with them. And I wasn't about to just disappear on them for 2 months. And I'll explain why that was still a thing. But yes, we're still coaching them. And then I still had a few commitments, like some podcasts, a summit I was on that were already scheduled that I committed to before the sabbatical. And as you'll find out in a minute, it was a very unplanned, last-minute sabbatical. So I wanted to fulfill those commitments. Don't do it the way I did it. That's what I would say. Don't do your sabbatical without any planning. It worked. I just did it. Had to pull the e-brake. But it was messier than I would have liked. I'm a very clean, like I'm in work or I'm not in work. I like, black, white. I like to not have my food blend together on the plate, kind of thing. So this is hard for me. All right. Maybe not for you. All right. Why the sabbatical? Straight up last year, 2023 was very full for me. There was a lot of things happening last year. Not the least of which was writing another book. Rebel, coming out September. So stay tuned. You're going to be hearing a lot more about the book as we get into ramping up promotion for that. I'm really excited. But writing a really, really cool book. That took a lot of effort, time, mental energy. I launched a couple of new products last year. I did lots of personal coaching, meaning I probably had 4 coaches in the last 12 months. Business coaches, speaking coaches, identity coaches, spiritual coaches, and that doesn't even include all the live events I went to that were like weekend events, mastermind events. I'm in a mastermind that it has its own events and coaching and group. I mean, spent a lot of time doing deep work, and so I was kind of toast. I was kind of toast after last year. It was a lot of mental work. Some physical work as well. But for me, I was like, whew, when I got to the holidays, I got to Christmas, I was like, this is great. I need a break. And then coming back after 2 weeks off, I always shut it down the last 2 weeks of the year for Christmas and New Year's. Had some good family time. Coming back from Christmas, Usually I'm like refreshed. I do my planning day either at the end of December or the beginning of January to plan my year and get excited. And I remember it was probably January 4th, and it was my first day back, and that was the day I had set aside for my planning day away. I always go to a nice hotel or to the beach, and I was doing my planning day, and I was sitting there. I was like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm not actually excited to plan. I don't have the energy to plan. I don't even want to plan, even if I have the energy. I just kind of just want to veg out or take a nap. I was feeling like angsty. I was feeling irritated, a little bit overwhelmed. And to me, knowing myself, I've been doing business for 14 years. Those are like mild signs of burnout. Like for me, I know when I get those feelings of like, I don't want to plan. I'm not excited about, content and planning. I'm not dreaming up new things. I'm easily irritated. Like I don't want to check my inbox. Like to me, those are all telltale signs that I'm burning out, which really surprised me because I thought, well, things are going really great. But I just think I underestimated how much 2023 took out of me with the writing. And honestly, with this book, as you'll see when it comes out, like it's not a direct business book. Like it's bigger than that. And so it felt like I was stepping into another lane it felt like a very weighty subject to steward and like get that message across well. So I think it took a lot out of me as I was wrestling through how to like craft this book in a way that can change somebody's life. No pressure. So I think that's what I was feeling. And so that I was discovering that early January. I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just the first week back after Christmas. Second week into January, still feel the same. Third week. So here we are in the fourth week of January, literally the last day, January 31st. I'm on a date night with Shay. We're at a restaurant, and I'm just in a bad mood. And, God bless my wife. Like I've been in a bad mood a lot the last 1 to 2 years. There's been more moments of that than I usually have, where I just feel like the weight, I feel heavy, I feel tired, overwhelmed, thinking about a lot of things. Like I'm in a big growth season in my business, but as a person as well. And there's a lot to think about. And so I was having one of those moments where I was just like, I'm tired of this stuff. Like it doesn't feel exciting right now, blah, 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 kind of complaining to my wife. And my wife has just gotten off of a 6-month sabbatical, which is really impressive. Makes my 2-month sabbatical look like nothing. And she said, well, maybe you should just take a sabbatical. I was like, I can't do that. She's like, why not? You're the passive income guy. You can do whatever you want. Touche, right? Ouch. I was like, you're right. Yeah, I totally can. But then in my mind, I was like, but I would have planned it. Like, you had a couple months to plan your sabbatical and like move some things around and roll off some tasks. Like I need some time to plan this. She's like, no, you don't. Start tomorrow. I was like, okay. I'm starting tomorrow. And I committed to a sabbatical. Originally, I was thinking I was going to take 30 days off, take a month off. Because every summer, I usually take a month off. But I usually have some time to plan. And usually we're doing some family vacations and stuff. But never in the middle of like the work year do I just take a month off. And at the same time, I was like, 30 days is not going to be enough. Like I'll maybe settle down in 30 days. So I committed to 60 days. And I started immediately on February 1st. And I was heading out to Arizona for a mastermind event that I was a part of. And so I got on the plane, I flew to the desert. I was like, here we go. I'm going into the desert, into my wilderness season to see what happens. So it was a cold turkey, last minute decision to pull back and take a break. What happened while I was gone? Well, first, there's good news and bad news. Let's start with the bad news. Views on my channel, downloads on my podcast, and email opt-ins into my email list all went down. But that's to be expected because I wasn't publishing any new content. And I wasn't emailing my list nearly as much. I think I kept up with like letting them know about my book reviews that was going on. And then I just stopped doing that because I didn't want to. So, those all went down. And to me, those are usually leading indicators. Like in business, you'll have leading indicators and lagging indicators. The leading indicators generally, like email opt-ins, generally are the biggest indicator of revenue to come because I make a lot of revenue in my passive income evergreen funnel. So that's a little bit of a sad thing. But I mean, I think when I took a glance, everything dipped about 20%. It's not bad, which means even without any new content in 60 days, I was getting 80% of the views and email opt-ins from all the years of content that's out there working for me, which is just another good reminder of why you want evergreen content, meaning searchable, relevant, videos primarily on YouTube is the best platform in my opinion. Podcast episodes, blog posts, things that are out there that are searchable, that are showing up all the time. They're like little employees working for you, bringing leads to you 24/7 for free. So it wasn't dependent on me like posting to social media, which I don't really do. And I don't depend on social media for leads. So those all went down. Another bad news, a few people were upset. I had a few people message me and I would see, like I wasn't checking anything, but if I would upload my episodes for like the book reviews, I would see like YouTube for a second shows you your most recent comments. And I would see a couple comments come in like, I didn't sign up for, just getting these book review videos. That's not what I signed up for this channel and I subscribed. Where's the regular Graham Cochran show? I was like, oh, some people are upset. Very few, but there was some. Maybe there's more. My assistant just deleted those emails as she should. And there's a few people that were actually concerned about me. Like, are you okay? I haven't seen you post anything, which actually isn't bad. That's actually nice to know that people like pay attention to my publishing rhythms and they were concerned. So that's the only bad news. Well, that's not true. Let's talk about business and we'll talk about personal. The good news on the business was that revenue held steady. Revenue didn't go down at all. In fact, it kept going up a little bit. And that's primarily because of the nature of where most of my income comes in. Affiliate income, recurring payments from clients, and evergreen sales in my funnel of digital products. Those are the three main ways where the majority of my income comes in. If I do a launch or a promotion, yeah, you get an influx of cash doing that. But the bulk of my business is built around evergreen automated income. I like it that way for a lot of reasons, but this is a good, stress test on the business. Don't do any work for 60 days. Nothing drops with your income. That's nice. On the personal side, good and the bad. On the good, I had some fun. So like I went to the movies in the middle of the day, which to me, I always felt like going to the movie theater in the middle of the day when nobody's there on a weekday is like the ultimate flex. Like it's like you and that retired couple that are going to go see a movie and like split a popcorn and pay like, discounted senior rate. So it was me and a couple of old people. I remember I went and saw Dune Part 2 like on a Tuesday at lunchtime. It was amazing. So that's like a flex for me. Going to the movies by myself is like one of my like passions. I love it. And I haven't been in the movie theater nearly as much as I'd like lately. So I'm just gonna go to the movies. I went to the beach multiple times, just sit on the beach. I play more video games, which is good for my soul. I used to play a lot of video games as a kid, and then I got really grown up and serious and I stopped. And then like now my kids like to play video games. So like I'm trying to be fun again. And I read lots of books. So I was keeping up with my 52 book challenge, which is a book a week. But I also picked up a few other books along the way. So I'm actually reading more than one book a week. And I'm just not posting about all of the ones I'm reading. But I did a lot of sitting and reading, which is great. So those are the positives. The negatives. I felt a bit stir crazy. Like I just knew that like, I hate not publishing content. I hate like that nobody knew because I made a point to just like disappear and not tell anybody and not make a big deal about it. I knew I was going to come back, and if I had anything worth sharing about it, I was going to share about it. Hence why I'm doing this episode. But I felt stir crazy. Like, shouldn't I be in there? Shouldn't I be doing something? It's almost like, you're a recovering addict. Like I had those sort of withdrawals of just moving the ball down the field. I don't like to work a lot of hours. I like to keep things moving. And I just felt like a little angsty. I doubted myself the whole time. This is stupid. This is a bad idea. And like, this is going to negatively affect my business. And then what if I don't get any breakthrough? What if I still feel exhausted after the sabbatical? What if there's no insight or clarity? And then the business takes a dive for the worst? Like that's even stupider. And then it'll have gone backwards for 2 months for nothing. So a lot of doubt, a lot of internal warring. And then one of the negatives was I didn't feel any different 7 weeks into an 8-week break. Imagine that. You've taken 7 weeks off. Yeah, you've had some fun. It's been nice to like take, extended walks the movies in the middle of the day, more video games, more just time, have long lunches with people, connect with people. But you're like, I don't feel any different. Like I haven't had a aha eureka moment. I'm 7 weeks in. I got a week left. Like that starts to put some pressure. And I was feeling that 7 weeks in. Let's talk about the final week, which was last week. The final week, I got some massive clarity, and it was very, very interesting. Hey, friend, we'll get back to the episode in just a moment. Real quick, I hope you're enjoying the episode, and if so, please share it with somebody that needs to hear this episode today. It would mean so much to me. Also, I want to give you a gift for hanging out with me today. I want to give you my free $1 million life-giving business formula on-demand training. Inside of this less than 60-minute training, it will help you uncover your uniqueness to build a 7-figure boutique brand without burning out. This is some of my favorite material. These are the things that I'm taking my private clients through, but I want to share them with you in this free training. So if you've already built your business, but it's not giving you life, it's taking life from you, this is the training for you. It's absolutely free. Just go to grahamcochran.com/lifegiving. That's grahamcochran.com/lifegiving, all one word. And you can register for your spot right there. Now back to the episode. There were 3 key insights for me. This is just me, okay? Just being real with you. I got clarity on the fact that I can get addicted to consistency. I've been a content creator for 14 years. I've made millions of dollars creating content online. I've got over 700,000 YouTube subscribers across 2 channels. I've had email lists of 400,000 or 500,000 people. I don't know how many videos and blog posts and podcast episodes I've done over my couple of businesses. Like, I am a monster content creator in the sense that I know how to drive results. And the key, when people ask me what's the key, I always tell them consistency. Like, that matters more than anything. It does not matter how good your thumbnails are. It does not matter what platform you're on. It does not matter how good your content is. If you're not consistently posting, the system that we build, we try to build this beautiful system. At least I try to help my clients build the beautiful system that's automated and evergreen and flexible. That doesn't run without consistent content output. That's like the fuel that drives the whole thing once you build it. And so that's always my biggest piece of advice for people is you got to create a consistent rhythm. And I've benefited from it. But I realized that while that's a strength of mine, where a lot of people they're not disciplined, they struggle to get in the office, they struggle to post, and I've never, ever struggled with that. I realized it's also a weakness for me in that I have a hard time taking a break from certain tasks. I'm so addicted to like the controllable. To me, and this goes back to when I started my first business and we were broke, we were on food stamps, I had a baby and a mortgage, and I was scared out of my mind, and I had no income, and I was trying to create something online. 2009, 2010, there were so many uncontrollables. So what I did was control the controllables, and all I could control was my output. I said, I'm going to get in my home office Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, and I'm going to create content that people want to consume. I'm going to put it out there every single week. And for 4 years, I posted 3 pieces of content a week for 4 years. And then I dropped that down to 2 for a year, and then I dropped that down to 1, and numbers didn't dip at all. I realized I could get the same results with 1 good piece of content a week, and I've been doing that ever since. I think because that made me feel safe back then, that was the part I was controlling, and I had some control in a situation that felt out of control. I've seen results from it in 2 very different brands. I think I'm a little addicted to it. And so it's hard for me to, in fact, that was the hardest thing. Like, I almost thought, like, should I quickly in one day batch record 8 episodes? Like, that's the way my brain thinks. Like, I don't want to give up posting something new. And that's a little bit of an addiction. The second piece of clarity I had was that I needed to be reminded that the world keeps on spinning without me. I think we know that. I mean, unless you are literally a complete textbook narcissist, I'm sure you know that the world doesn't need you, and the world will keep spinning even if you're long gone and when you're long gone. And that's a little morbid, but I needed to experience that to realize that it's true. And I didn't post for 2 months. I didn't really email my list. I did all the things you're not supposed to do. I just kind of ghosted you guys for 2 months. And nobody really cared. A very, very small handful of you reached out, wanted to make sure like I was okay. And I appreciate you. And like a couple of you were annoyed, but not even that many of you were annoyed, at least not publicly. And that's humbling. Like just keeps on going. The internet's still there. So the beauty of that is that I feel like for me, the insight is that takes the pressure off a person like me. And it gives me freedom to do what I need to do in the business to fuel my joy and stay on top of my game, which is so, so important. If I feel like I'm burning out again or feeling the symptoms again, I have a lot more confidence to be able to say, hey, I'm going to make a change. What do I got to do? Because my mission is to serve the planet with my gifts and talents and to help you specifically create as much money, margin, and meaning in your life through your business. And so I can't do that forever if I don't fuel myself. And so I got to make sure that I'm always tweaking and optimizing my business to be life-giving, to fuel me so that I can show up and do my best work. And it's good to be reminded that, hey, you can take a break and fuel yourself and the world will keep on spinning and very few things will fall apart. It reminds me of in the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss in the expanded version, which is I think the only one you can buy now. It was the second release of it. He has a bunch of additional chapters at the end, like bonus chapters that I think were blog posts, like some of his most popular blog posts in the first 2 years of the book coming out. One of the most profound ones that he included in there, and you could probably Google the blog post itself if you don't have the book, is The Art of Letting Bad Things Happen. And it's a beautiful, quick read where he describes coming back from one of his many retirements, as he calls them, which is functionally a sabbatical. And he was traveling the world for a couple of months, riding his motorcycle across China or doing flamenco dancing or whatever he was doing, and just disappeared from his business. And he came back. And what I love about it is he came back and described everything that happened, the good and the bad. And like, there was some bad. There were some clients that fired him, that pulled off out of their contract because they couldn't get a hold of him and they were pissed and they didn't want to deal with, his team. And he lost some money and some revenue dried up. He missed like a tax bill. And so there was like a fine or a fee. And he just lists all the bad things that happened. And he was like, yeah, that sucks, but it was worth it. And it was like, whoa, that's profound. Like, and he describes that it's almost a muscle you have to strengthen, the ability to let some bad things happen. It's in order to have the better thing, which is the freedom to take a break, to go do what you got to do. Like, you can't perfectly go do the thing you want to do or take that break. Even taking time off in the summer, or if you have kids, traveling with them or taking Christmas off, there's something always falls through the cracks. And for any of you that are perfectionists out there, and I have perfectionist tendencies, it's really helpful for us to practice letting bad things happen in small ways so we get used to it and realize it's not the end of the world. So The Art of Letting Bad Things Happen, Tim Ferriss, it might be worth reading. And then the final insight I had is that even though I have spent years optimizing my business to virtually run without me, all of the 4-Hour Work Week, which is a classic textbook in the vein of not only creating passive income, but really the point of passive income is to help you create a life and a lifestyle you want. I've gotten so good at that and focused so hard on optimizing my business so that, like I said, it runs virtually without me, like less than 5 hours a week of my input needed. And I'm obsessed with that. And I think there's beauty in that. But one of the biggest pieces of clarity I got last week was that in this season, I've got some work to do, primarily with launching Rebel, my new book. There's a lot of cool events I'm creating around the book. There's a lot of work to be done in the book. I'm doing more speaking engagements related to the book. It's going to be a big launch. And to do it right, and some of the things that some ancillary things that are going to be built around the book launch that I think would just be strategic and be beautiful and make sense, it's going to take effort. And the break, in a way, was perfect timing now that I think about it, because it's given me like an exhale so that I can come back and start focusing on this important message of Rebel to steward and to get out in the world and to do it well and do it with excellence. And that's going to take more effort than I'm used to. And it's going to be, it's strategic for the business, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be really a moneymaker. So it's not as black and white of like build all these things and make all this money. I could just chill and make money, but I need to work hard to steward this message well. And I feel like that's something that I got a lot of clarity on in the last 7 days. So that's where I'm at. That's what happened. I would just say I felt like when people would ask me, how's the sabbatical going? I would say I feel like it's a mixed bag. I felt like it was a bit messy. It wasn't as glamorous as I'd hoped, but I imagine it would be a bit of a cluster as it would, because it was very last minute and it was not planned and prepared for. That being said, I think if I did it again, and when I do it again, I'll plan a little bit more in advance. And I was thinking about this for you because the idea of sabbatical, comes from the Jewish word Shabbat, where we get our word for Sabbath, the Sabbath day. And it really is a pulling away and resting and recharging so that you can work again, right? And so there should be rhythms of rest in your day, in your week, in your month, and in your year, so that you don't hit the wall and just collapse. If you have those rhythms of rest, those Sabbaths or those sabbaticals, even if they're very mini, then you can have sustained effort over decades. And then that's how you win in life and business, is just consistently staying in the game long enough. And so I want you to take sabbaticals, and I thought I'd give you 3 steps to take your own sabbatical that are very doable. So if you're interested at all, here's what I would suggest. Step 1, decide when and how long. That's like the most important step, is just deciding to do it and picking a date to do it. And how long? And here's the thing. I took 2 months off. My wife just took 6 months off. You do not have to do either of those. Even if it's just 7 days off, but not a vacation, right? Like I took a 7-day cruise with my family during spring break, during my sabbatical. That was a planned vacation. That doesn't count. As much as that was rest, the scandalous nature of a sabbatical only feels scandalous when it's not a vacation, it's not a holiday, everyone's still working or in school, and that's when you decide to shift down, unplug, and get away. So 7 days minimum, that's not a vacation, where you just don't work. You're just at home. Okay? That's it. So decide when. You could start tomorrow. You could start next week. You could start a month from now. And decide how long. There's no right or wrong. Start small if you want to. But I would say start with a week. Take a week off, disappear. That could change your life. Step 2, choose an intention for the sabbatical. So this is something to think about. What is one thing you want to commit to do more of during your break? Because you're removing work, which is time freed up and mental space freed up. So now you have this void. So we want to fill it, not just fill it to like with lots of stuff, but we want to then intentionally do more of something during that break that we don't get to do as much of when we're in normal work mode. So for example, your intention could be to exercise more that week or that sabbatical, to read more, prayer more, be outside in nature more, connect with your friends or your spouse or your kids more, whatever. It could be to play more video games, to pick up that hobby. I don't know. Just pick an intention, one thing you're committing to do more of. That's it. You don't have to commit to a routine or a schedule. Just, I want to spend more time outside during my sabbatical. I want to spend more time hanging with my kids, like sitting on the floor, playing with them than I normally do. It can even be something you want to do less of, but I think then you still need to add something you want to do more of. For example, you might want to say, I want to be off my phone during sabbatical. I want to shut it off for a week. Great. Awesome. Or put it in do not disturb and only check it once a day. Great. Awesome. But then still, what's the one thing you want to do more of? And then step number 3, when you come back from sabbatical, whether it's 7 days or 7 months, get clear on what changes you want to make in the business and what's going to stay the same in your business. So the point of sabbatical is to, I think, rest and get some distance between you and your typical work week so you can have perspective, right? That's one of the greatest gifts the sabbatical can give you is perspective. So when you get some sabbatical perspective, even if it's 7 days, that time away is going to help you get clarity. And what I would say is get clear on, okay, when you come back, decide what's the number one thing that you need to change in your business or change about your work or change about your work week. It could be your schedule. It could be, like I got to stop doing these things. I have a client right now who does these bonus free calls with some of his clients who buy something else. And like, it was a great idea at first, but he's just getting bogged down by them. He's filling his calendar with these free calls, and a lot of people aren't even grateful for the calls. And so the challenge for him was like, bro, you don't have to do them. Just because you've done them doesn't mean you have to do them. Yes, some people will be upset, but it's okay. And so we've been working through like, that's a change he wants to make because it's sapping all his energy. And so having a perspective, either that can come through a coach like me and him, or it can come from some time away. What's the one thing you need to change about your work when you come back? And then also number two, what's the one thing that you want to acknowledge? What is the one thing you need to keep the same or double down on, right? So when you step away, for example, for me, I stepped away, I'm coming back, and I'm realizing the number one thing I need to change is the way I relate to my work week. I have been getting irritated by having to do certain things because I've been so obsessed with like optimizing my time and not having to be in the office that I've been irritated that there's stuff I got to do for this book launch, which is really dumb when I say it out loud because the book is my number one thing this year that I want to steward. And I believe in it. I love in it. But like, I'm irritated. So the way I'm relating to my work schedule and having tasks is messed up. I need to change that. I need to flip the script on how I view the tasks ahead of me because they're really, really good and they're important. The number one thing I want to keep the same is my podcast. I love this show. I love the content. And I want to, like, I didn't come away thinking like, yeah, I just want to stop the podcast. No, I came away saying, I know I love the podcast. I couldn't wait to get back to do this episode for you and get back into the rhythm. I have so many things I want to talk about with you in upcoming episodes. So to me, I was like, all right, let's just continue to do it, but let's do it even better. So that's what I'd say. Decide when and how long. Choose an intention for the sabbatical, one thing you want to commit to do more of during your break. And then number three, when you come back, get clear on the number one change you want to make and the number one thing you want to stay the same or double down on in your sabbatical. All right, that's it, my friend. That's what happened in the last 60 days. Let me know if you're watching on YouTube in a comment below. Did you miss me? No, it's okay. It's okay if you didn't. Let me know if you've ever taken a sabbatical. And if so, what were your biggest insights? And if you're going to take one, if you're going to take me up on this little sabbatical challenge and try one, even if it's for 7 days, let us know in a comment below when you're going to do it and for how long, for a little bit of accountability. I think that'll be awesome. Even if you need some time to get things in order, get ahead on some content, that's fine too. Make the effort to take a sabbatical, get your intention in place. And then when you do, email me back. Let me know your results. I'd love to hear from you. All right, my friend, thank you for tuning into this episode. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. I have a lot of great things I want to share with you, so stay tuned, buckle up. If you're not on my email list, what are you doing with your life? Go ahead, sign up now. Just go to grahamcochran.com. Watch one of my webinars. Come get on the list. That way you don't miss anything that's about to happen in the upcoming weeks and months. A lot of fun stuff to share. All right, talk to you soon.